What is going on, everybody? And welcome back to Johnny K Picks. And in this video, I'll be going over my full card picks and predictions, along with the bets that I'm looking at so far for UFC Vegas 69, Andrade versus Blanchfield. Now, before we get started, as always, please hit that like button for me. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on any of the new videos that I put out or live streams that pop up when you don't even know it. So sorry for the delay in my video. It's just been like nonstop from Saturday, like the Super Bowl happened. I went on Valentine's dinner on yesterday on Monday, and then today I just got around to doing the filming. Kind of had the breakdowns all done, so just gonna do it for you right now. But as always, like I always do, I'm gonna go over real quick of 284 of the fights. Um, let's see here. So yeah, it was a very entertaining card, though I will say, and I wish there was a little bit more violence, but there wasn't. So I was kind of like, "What the heck is going on?" But it is what it is. It had its good moments. For my picks, I did end up going 9, 3, and 1. And for my bets, unfortunately, I'm still on this weird little cold streak, and I don't know what's going on. But I ended up losing minus 3.68 units. But I mean, I think my reads were there. It just wasn't my night. I mean, let's just go over this real quick since we're talking about it. Parker Porter was a bad bet. I'll say that. Menafield was winning the fight until he wasn't in the fence grab. I thought personally, the Malarkey fight didn't go under 2.5. I would say 95% of MMA Twitter had that bet, and Malarkey looked like not himself. Like he wanted to use the technical route. Under 1.5 in the Pedro fight, that was a weird outcome. I thought that would have ended in the first round one way or another. And then Volkanovski is a beast, and probably at hindsight, that's a bad bet. I'll never do that again. But I thought Makhachev was going to get inside the distance in that one. And then the only bet that hit was my parlay, which it's weird because I only had one parlay, and that's the one that hit. So it is what it is. And yeah, like I said, let's go over this real quick, and then we'll jump into my picks and stuff for Vegas 69. Brenner versus Tuhugov. Starting out the night a little crazy. I really thought Tuhugov won that fight 29-28. And yeah, think it was a little bit of a robbery, if you want to say. Um, Builder versus Shane Young. Not the greatest fight, but Builder did get the win. I thought he did just a little bit more, 29-28. That's how I had it. And a good win from him. Loma versus Reed. I'm very impressed with Loma. I thought she would dominate, and she did. Got that sub, and that was awesome. So good win from her. Jenkins versus Shanus. Very good fight. Shanus is very tough, but I did have Jack winning pretty comfortable 30-27. I thought he would struggle a little bit more than he did, but I mean, he looked really good. And like we just talked about Malarkey versus Prado, I really thought Malarkey, if he wouldn't got the finish in the first round or Prado get the finish in the first round, it would have ended in the second, and it just didn't. Prado was tough. He hung in there. And Malarkey, he just didn't seem like he wanted to go for it as much as he used to. He didn't want to really brawl. He wanted to go the technical route, if you want to say. So good win from him. He got the win. It was pretty easy win there. Rodriguez versus Shannon Ross. Rodriguez is a monster. Got it done in under a minute. So good win from him. Kulabau versus Melsick, very good fight too. I thought Kulabau lost the first round, but it was kind of close. And then he got that he jumped on that rear naked choke very quickly, and that was really good. And a good win from him. Bukowskis versus Pedro, kind of a weird fight, but Bukowskis got in there and won. I mean, pretty easily. I thought he won. Pedro really only had a chance in the first round. He just has one round of cardio, and then he's done. So that's about it for him. Jimmy Crute versus Alonzo Menafield. Again, that was the fence grab in the third. I thought Menafield was winning 2-0, and then the third round hit, and then that's where the draw hit. But I had a little bet on him, so I might be a little biased, but I thought he was landing the better shots and doing the more damage on the feet as well. So weird overall. I hate draws. I think they're very lame. I wish they were just out of UFC altogether, but it is what it is. Justin Tafa, Parker Porter, just a very bad bet there. Tafa landed that knockout shot in a minute. So it is what it is. That's what heavyweight fights. That's why if you bet them, you're just risking it. So never again, I'm not going to bet a low level heavyweight fight. Jack Della versus Randy Brown. Jack Della is the truth. guys. That's all I'm going to say. Never again. I'm always going to be betting this guy unless he's fighting top 5 talent. That's how good he is. Yair versus Emmett. Yair looked amazing out there. Just Josh had nothing. He had nothing for Rodriguez, and Rodriguez was just doing everything, all the damage. And good win from him. He got the submission arm triangle choke once that fight went to the mat. And Islam versus Volkanovski. I know a lot of people think that Volkanovski won, and he did very well. Very well. Like better than I thought he was. And I knew he was going to do pretty decent. But I got to say, guys, this is just me. And I'm a Volkanovski fan. I had Islam winning at least 48-47. Rounds 2 and 3 were very close, very close. But I know Islam won one of those two, and then Volkanovski won the other. And I thought Volk won round 5 clearly, and then Islam won round 1 clearly. So, and then round 4, Islam did win, but he was on his back for the majority of the fight. But I mean, he was controlling that whole fight around, so you can't really. I mean, it sucks that he was on his back for the majority of the time, but he won that round 2. So, like I said, overall good card. So, Mets didn't do that great, but picks did pretty decent. So it's just one of those years so far, and hopefully we'll just get on the good bandwagon here. And let's go to UFC Vegas 69, and let's go to the first one here. It's going to be Juan Camilo Ronderos versus Clayton Carpenter. Ronderos is 4-1, 28 years old, 5'4", with a 64.5-inch reach. Carpenter is 6-0, 26 years old, 5'6", with a 66-inch reach. So Ronderos is mainly a striker. He throws a pretty decent amount of volume, likes to push forward. He's got pretty good takedown defense. He might have to use it in this fight. He can wrestle, but he's mainly a striker, like I said. He doesn't have the greatest striking accuracy, though, but he does throw a lot of volume. He puts his hands up there, throws a lot of jabs and combos. And then Carpenter, he's making his UFC debut. He's very well-rounded. I would say his grappling is a little bit better than his striking, but he's got very good striking. Like I said, well-rounded, good submissions. His striking is solid with solid power as well. He can be a little hittable at times. He likes to keep his head, doesn't really move his head too much, if you want to say. So that's something to look out for, but he likes to push forward too as well and then go for that finish. But this should be a fun fight to start the night off. And I'm really, really on board with Carpenter here. I think he's going to win this fight. I just think he's the better fighter overall. I think he's the better grappler for sure. Striking is a little bit closer, but I would give him the edge. I think he has more finishing ability as well. And I'm just going to go with Carpenter here. I think he's going to get that sub in the first or second round, whether he gets that takedown or maybe like a club and sub. But either way, I still think he's going to get that finish one way or another. Next one we got is AJ Fletcher versus Themba Gorimbo. Fletcher is 9-2, 26 years old, 5'10", with a 67-inch reach. Gorimbo is 10-3, 32 years old, 6 foot, with a 76.5-inch, let's say. So immediately right off the bat, you're going to see there's like an 8-inch reach advantage, 2-inch height advantage. But Fletcher is probably used to that because that's kind of a really short reach for a I think this is a welterweight, right? Yeah, welterweight. Man, that's crazy for welterweight. I didn't know he was welterweight. But Fletcher is a very good wrestler. He's got very good ground and pound. He's very tough, very durable. He's a solid striker. He's got power in his hands. He's not the most technical guys, if you want to say, but he can get some counters going and land the power shot or knockout shot on the feet. He can slow down as the fight goes on. That's something to look out for, especially if he uses his grappling and wrestling a little bit early. And he doesn't completely gas out, but like I said, he just slows down and you can tell he's just a little tired. And Gorimbo is making his UFC debut. Pretty good striker. He's going to have a massive reach advantage. Like I said, he's in a little height. He likes to stay at range, use his jab. He's got solid striking. Power's there as well. I wouldn't say he's just a knockout guy, but he's got some power in his hands. Doesn't really have the greatest ground game, if you want to say, but he does have solid takedown defense, and he's going to have to use that in this fight. But this is just like a classic wrestler versus striker here, and I'm going to go with Fletcher. I do think he wins this fight. I think he is the better fighter as well. Only thing that scares me if this fight gets deeper and Fletcher doesn't get those takedowns like he wants to. And if this fight is on the feet, it's going to be a lot closer. than it should be. Let's put it that way. So Fletcher needs to go in there, go for that wrestling, get those takedowns. And I think he can win this fight by decision very easily. Or I can maybe even see like a ground and pound, maybe second or third round, but I'm going to go with decision here. So I think he'll be able to win at least 2 rounds pretty comfortably. And yeah, get a decision win. So with my pick, going to go with Fletcher by decision. He should win this fight, hopefully, but I'm just going to stay away betting wise. I know, and I don't know if I said it in the last fight, but I do have Carpenter in a parlay. So if you didn't catch that or I didn't say it, there it is. All right. Next one is Nazim Sadykhov versus Evan Elder. Sadykhov is 7-1, 28 years old, 5'10 with a 69-inch reach. And Elder is 7-1, 25 years old, 5'10 with a 71-inch reach. So kind of been going back and forth with this one. And I know there's a lot of people liking Sadykhov, and I get it. But let's break this down. Sadykhov is making his UFC debut. He's a very good striker. He's got good power, good counters. He does have decent grappling as well. He likes to push forward. He's got solid takedown defense and good striking defense. So that's something to look out for. But as the fight goes on, that striking defense kind of, I don't want to say goes right out the window, but it kind of slowly goes there. Elder, he's very well rounded, actually. He's got solid striking, solid wrestling, and grappling. Good power in his hands. I wouldn't say he's a knockout guy, but he does have the power to do it. He's got good top control when he is on top, and if he gets a takedown. But he can be a little hittable at times, especially as the fight goes on. So these guys with the striking defense, it kind of slowly goes away. But I think this is going to be a pretty close fight. And I get the hype with Nazim because he does have that finishing power more so than Elder, I would say. I'm just, you know what, man, and Elder, I know he was on short notice and he fought, I think it was Preston Parsons up a weight class, short notice, lost pretty easily, but he did hang in there the whole fight. He's just like, I like his durability. I'm gonna go with Nazim though. I just like that. I think he's a little bit more dangerous, but I honestly, it wouldn't shock me if Elder goes in there with a wrestle heavy game plan and just outgrinds Nazim and doesn't let his striking get off his striking and just wins a boring decision. I can see him doing that. But I'm gonna go with Nazim. I think he has a little bit more chance or ways of winning. I think he can win by knockout. I think he can win by decision, and maybe even a sub too. So um, he's got knockout. He's more of a knockout guy. He does have some, submissions in his repertoire, if you want to say. But give me Nazim. I'm not as confident as maybe some people are here, but I do think he has just a little bit more finishing ability than Elder. But I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. Next one is going to be OSP, Oven St. Preux versus Felipe Lins. OSP is 26-16, 39 years old, 6'3 with an 80-inch reach. Lins is 15-5, 37 years old, 6'2 with a 78-inch reach. So, yeah, OSP, to put it nicely, is a well-rounded fighter, if you want to say, but he's mainly a striker as of late. He doesn't really use his wrestling and grappling anymore. He's getting up there in age. He's 39 years old. He only really throws kicks at range. He doesn't really use his hands anymore, which is weird. He's very, very low volume as well. He does have those sneaky submissions, as we know, and he slows down as the fight goes on, and he gets hittable too. He leaves his head up a lot, and yeah, I mean, that might not be a good idea in this fight. But Lins is a solid striker with very good power early on, especially. He kind of slows down as the fight goes on, as we saw in his last fight. It was kind of sloppy, and somehow it went to decision. I don't know how, but his cardio is not the greatest, if you want to say. He's got good takedown defense. He does have wrestling and grappling as well. He did show a little bit of that in his last fight, too. And I don't know if he's going to want to use it here, but we'll see. And I got to go with Lins here. I'm not going to bet this fight at all, but I got to go Lins. I don't trust him enough to bet him, though. And I'm not saying either guy is amazing at this moment in their careers, but I just think OSP is just too low volume. He's just kind of one dimensional nowadays. Lins does have that power in his hand still, and I think he can knock out OSP maybe in the first round or second round. So I'm going to go with Lins here to get that knockout. And I'll say late first round. I think he'll find that eventually. Next fight, we're going to do Jamal Emmers versus Hussein Askhabov. Got it. Emmers is 18-6, 33 years old, 5'10 with a 74-inch reach. And Askhabov is 23-0, 28 years old, 5'8. And I'm not sure his reach. I want to say it's like 70, 71 inches. I think I saw it somewhere else, but it's not on here. But Emmers is a pretty well-rounded guy himself. He's mainly, I would say he's a striker first, though. Solid striking, good technical boxing, good power in his hands. He does have some wrestling and takedowns that he can use, good takedown defense as well. And every time I hear the word or hear his name, I just go back to the time where he dropped Sabatini. He followed him down in his guard, and then he got heel hooked and injured his knee, and then lost that fight. And I had a bet on him that fight. I was mad, but it is what it is. It's one of those you'll never forget when you hear a fighter when that happens. And Askhabov is making his UFC debut. He's a very good wrestler and grappler. He's got very good takedowns, good submissions. His striking is okay. It's not very technical, but he does have some power on his feet. He can land the knockout shot, but I think for him here, he's going to want to use that wrestling because Emmers is going to have the advantage on the feet, I believe. And I'm going to go with Askhabov to win. I think he's going to be able to get that wrestling and grappling going. It might not be immediately, but I think eventually he's going to start getting those takedowns and working for the sub, maybe some ground and pound. Um, yeah, I just think Emmers, if this fight does play on the feet, though, I think Emmers has a chance. And if Askhabov cannot get this fight to the mat, I mean, I think Emmers will win this fight. But I'm going to go with the guy that has tons of experience, 23 wins. I know some of them aren't the greatest, if you want to say. 3-0, 7-0, 9-1. I mean, he's fought some guys that are pretty decent, but a lot of them were in the beginning either no records or you don't know their records. So, but look at all, I mean, he's finishing all of them. So that's good to see. He's not like going to close decisions or anything for a majority. So give me Askhabov. I'm going to say this goes to decision. I think this goes to decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if Emmers slips up and maybe gets another heel hook and hurts his other knee. But let's not hope that, but I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm going to say Askhabov wins this one by decision, though. All right. Lena Lansberg versus Maria Bueno Silva. And Lansberg is 10-7, 40 years old, 5'7 with a 65.5-inch reach. And Bueno Silva is 9-2-1, 31 years old, 5'6 with a 66.5-inch reach. So Lansberg is an okay striker. She's very tough, durable, very good in the clinch with her elbows and knees, but she's very hittable, especially at range. She doesn't really have a ground game. Her takedown defense isn't that great. And that's about it. She's 40 years old. She's getting up there. And Buena Silva is a pretty good striker. I like her striking a lot. She throws a lot of volume. She's very good in the clinch as well. She has very good knees, and I wouldn't recommend getting in the clinch with Lansberg, but I mean, she's not going to be a fish out of water. Let's put it that way. She likes to push forward. She got good grappling with sneaky submissions off her back, but she doesn't really go for those takedowns, and I don't think she's landed one takedown in her UFC career. All of her grappling has been done by people trying to grapple or wrestle her, and she gets a lot of submissions that way. But I gotta go with Bueno Silva here. I mean, I think she's the better fighter everywhere. She's gonna have the better rest. I mean, if she wants to get this fight to the mat, she might get her first takedown in the UFC in this fight. But I think she's got the better grappling. I think her striking at range is better, her boxing. And as long as she doesn't get up in that clinch or get close to Lansberg, I think she'll be able to win this fight. I'm going to say she wins this one by decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if she wraps up like a rear naked choke or like an arm bar and she'll pull guard and just get an arm bar real quick. So I'm going to go decision. Most of her fights go that way, but I know sometimes I think she has like 4 arm bar wins. Silva does. So give me decision though, and we'll see what happens. Next fight. Very interested in this one. Jim Miller versus Alexander Hernandez. Jim Miller is 35-16, 39 years old, 5'8, 71-inch reach. Alexander Hernandez is 13-6, 30 years old, 5'9", with a 72-inch reach. So Jim Miller is a very solid UFC veteran. We all know him. He's got very good grappling, very good submissions, solid striking as of late with power, good takedowns. They're not the greatest, but it gets the job done, I say. And he's still tough at his ripe age of 39 years old, just a little bit older than me. He's very tough. He's got good cardio as well. I mean, can he fight a hard 3 rounds? I don't know, but he could fight for 3 rounds pretty decently. I'll give you that. And Hernandez is a very solid striker with real power in the first round. He can wrestle as well in the first round. I don't know if you know a trend that's going here. He's got solid cardio for 1 round only. Mind you, 1 round. That's it. And he's taking this fight on short notice. And he's a 1-round fighter. So basically, the breakdown is this. Do I think Jim Miller can survive 1 round and win this fight in the second or third round? I'm going to say yes. I think he gets this one done. Jim Miller is tough enough to do it. And especially if he goes for those takedowns and just holds and tries to hold up Alexander against the cage and work for takedowns and grappling early, Hernandez is going to gas. He has to win in the first round. He's first round a KO or bust. I don't see him winning this fight any other way. If you like Hernandez, that's the bet to do. Don't bet him anything money line. I just think he's first round or bust. But I think Miller's going to get this one done. I can see a club and sub. I can see a knockout when he's tired. I can see maybe even a decision win. But Hernandez has gone to decision a couple times, or maybe not super recently, like, well, right here, about 2 years ago. And then these fights haven't got out of the second round, even though he won this one. I think it was in the first round. So again, he's first round or bust. And I think Miller is still good enough to get this fight to the second round and he'll win this fight. So with my pick, I'm going to go with Miller to win by a club and sub type guillotine, or maybe rear naked choke if just Hernandez is just gassed out after the second round and just due to exhaustion, maybe in the second or early third round. I'm giving Hernandez just a little bit there if he gets to the third round. Good for him. All right. This is going to be the people's main event, the next 3 fights here. William Knight versus Marcin Prachnio. Knight is 11-4, 34 years old, 5'10", with a 73-inch reach. And Prachnio is 15-6, 34 years old, 6'3", with a 74-inch reach. So William Knight is a power striker. He's not technical, but he's got power. He's very wild with his strikes. He doesn't have the greatest cardio. I would say he's got about 1.5 rounds of cardio. He slows down as the fight goes on, like I said. And he's not, I mean, he does have some wrestling in his back pocket. He can go for some takedowns, but his takedown defense isn't that great either. So the more wrestling he uses, the quicker his gas goes. So we'll see what happens. He's pretty durable as well. He doesn't really get out of there. I know he lost to Clark, but that was a weird heavyweight fight. And yeah, the other ones, Grisham, he went to, most of these have gone to decision or he won by knockout. But that last fight, it was a little weird for him. Prachnio is a solid striker. He's got very good kicks, very powerful. He has decent power in his hands, though. Biggest red flag is his cardio and chin. That's all I gotta say. I think he's a 1-round fighter as well. And can this fight get into the second round for Knight to win this fight? And I'm going to say yes. I think William Knight is going to be stronger. He's going to be more, I think he's more durable. He's got a better chin. And it only takes one shot from William Knight to land on Prachnio. And I think that's going to happen in the first round. Do I want to bet this fight? No. I do not trust these guys one bit. If anything, I will do the under 2.5, or a fight doesn't go the distance. I'm not sure what the odds are right offhand, but that's the one only way I would look at this fight. I don't trust either of these guys, and I know it's close to a pick 'em. I don't trust them. Anyone can win this fight. Like these fights are so sketchy coming up here. Just stay away from them. Like the prelims have better fights, I think, than the main card, except obviously the main event. So give me William Knight to win. I'm going to say he gets this knockout in the, I'll say early second round. How about that? He gets it. He gets it done because Prachnio is just going to be gassed. Next, people's main event. Our guy, Josh Parisian versus Jamal Pogues. And Parisian is 15-5, 33 years old, 6'4 with a 79-inch reach. And Pogues is 9-3, 27 years old, 6'3 with a 77-inch reach. So Parisian has okay striking for one round. He's got about one round of cardio. I mean, I'll say 1.5. How about that? Got about 1.5 rounds of cardio. He doesn't really have the greatest power on the feet for a heavyweight. He's very high volume in the first round, though. He goes for that finish. Like, he'll go for it. And if he doesn't get it, then he's like, I got nothing. He has a little bit of a ground game, as we saw in his last fight against Alan Boudreaux, but that's Alan Boudreaux who has zero ground game. So he looked like Khabib out there in that fight, but I don't know about this fight. So um, very hittable as the fight goes on, as most heavyweights are, because they're gassed, and he doesn't have great takedown defense for a heavyweight, like at all. So that's going to be a key in this fight, I believe. And then Pogues is making his UFC debut. He's got okay striking. He's got pretty okay wrestling and grappling. He's a smaller heavyweight. He's not going to be like 265. He's going to be clocking in at about 250, I'm going to guess. And he has pretty good cardio. He definitely has better cardio than Parisian. And he doesn't really have that knockout power as well for a heavyweight. Like I said, he's kind of a smaller heavyweight. And usually with smaller heavyweights, they're usually more ripped, but not him. So this is another, like I said, another tough fight to predict. And I'm going to go with Pogues here to win this one. I just think he gets this one done. I think it might even go to decision, which is going to be a little weird. And I'm not betting this fight yet again. But yeah, give me Pogues to win this one by decision. I think he's going to use his wrestling early and then just gas out Parisian. And I think Pogues might be a little gassed too. And it's just going to be a little sloppy fight to end, in the third round. And it's just going to not be a great fight after that. So give me Pogues to win this one by decision. Not comfortable picking one or another for bets, but I think he's just a touch better and a little bit more well-rounded than Josh. And the last one, the co-main event, not the very last fight, but the last people's main event. Zach Pauga versus Jordan Wright. Pauga is 5-1, 34 years old, 6'2 with a 76-inch reach. And Jordan Wright is 12-4, 31 years old, 6'2 with a 77-inch reach. Cheers. So we all know Jordan Wright, but we don't know Pauga that much. Pauga has okay striking. He's got some power in his hands. He can be wild with his strikes, and he does have a pretty solid chin. Has got good wrestling and takedowns. And Wright, like I said, as we know, explosive striker early on. He's got knees, kicks, elbows, hands, whatever you want, spinning attacks, spinning kicks. He has shown some wrestling as of late, but he's mainly a striker, let's be honest. Only thing about him, and me and Cody have been coining this phrase in our live streams, is Wright is an amazing hammer and a terrible nail. He does not want to get hit. And once you hit him once solid in the chin or the face area, anywhere, he just like crumbles and he just covers up. Like he just doesn't want to fight anymore. He's like, oh, I don't want to fight anymore. I didn't get you out of there in 2 minutes. I'm done. So I'll always remember that in a couple of his fights. And I know he got Mark Andre Barrio got him out of there in a guillotine when he tried to wrestle. Dushko was just the more durable fighter in the first round. And then Wright was gassed in the second, and he got that ground and pound knockout. I kind of see the same thing happening here. I think Pauga can weather the storm early, whether it's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, a round. But right after that, Wright's going to be gassed. And Pauga is going to get that finish, probably by ground and pound knockout. So with my pick, I'm going to go with Pauga to win this one by knockout. I'll say late first round. How about that? I just don't see it happening any other way than Pauga knockout first round. Maybe early second, but it's going to be a knockout. Might bet that one, though. I like that. I'm going to talk myself into that. I like it. All right, guys. Main event. This is going to be a very good fight. Jessica Andrade versus Aaron Blanchfield. Andrade is 24-9, 31 years old, 5'1" with a 62-inch reach. Blanchfield is 10-1, 23 years old, 5'4" with a 68-inch reach. So, first things first, Andrade is taking this fight on short notice, and I believe it's a week to be exact. She's an amazing striker. She has tons of power, pushes forward, throws tons of volume, as we've seen in her last fight against Lauren Murphy, which I want to bring up 3 weeks ago. I wonder if she's still tired from throwing strikes in that fight, because, I mean, how much she probably threw over 200 at least. And she has solid wrestling and grappling herself, and if she wants to use it, and she's got solid takedown defense too, which she might need here, because Erin Blanchfield is an amazing wrestler and grappler. She's got very solid submissions, good ground and pound. Sorry, guys. My throat's a little raspy. Her striking is pretty solid, though. It's still improving as she goes on in her fights, but she can be very hittable. She doesn't really move her head that much. She doesn't really have great head movement. And yeah, I think the only way that she's going to win this fight is if she can take this fight to the mat early, kind of gas out Andrade, so he's not as dangerous on the feet, and then maybe win this one by a submission late in the fight or decision. But unfortunately, I think Blanchfield, ugh, I mean, maybe this isn't her call, but I think Andrade is just a little too. This is too big of a step for Blanchfield. Let's put it that way. I think Andrade is just better, going to be the way better fighter here. Maybe not grappling, but I think the striking advantage is so wide here. Power. I think she's going to get that knockout in the first or second round, unless Blanchfield can get those takedowns. That's the only way she survives it. Otherwise, Andrade's going to get the knockout in the second round, I believe. Um, it would be crazy if Blanchfield does win this fight. I'll tell you that. And she will be a big problem. And then she still is going to be a big problem. But I just think this is too quick, too big of a step right away. Even the Santos fight, if she was going to fight Santos, I still think that was a step up in competition. So I think Andrade is better than Santos. That's just me. But give me, like I said, give me Andrade to win this one by knockout in the second round. But yep, those are my picks. I do have Andrade in a parlay with Carpenter. That is my only official bet as of now. I'm looking at a lot of unders and maybe finish props, because this is going to be like a weird, very weird card here. But thank you everybody for watching. Please, on your way out, hit that like button for me and subscribe if you haven't yet. As always, I will post my bets on Instagram and Twitter. I'll post my bet slips so you know what I'm going to be betting. If you still want to tail me, that is, I thank you. I'm trying hard. This hopefully it can go my bounce. A couple of things can bounce my way this week, but yeah, I hope everybody enjoys the fights this weekend. I know it's not the greatest of cards, but it is what it is. This is what they give us. And just real quick before I leave, if you look at that poster, I swear, all week, it looks like it's a Subway ad commercial. Like there should just be Subway right here, sponsored by Subway. It's just these posters are funny, man. But like I said, thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate everyone. And as always, happy fight night.